Hello, my name is Jared Mahoney, and today I will be explaining the design choices that I made during the creation of my infographic. I primarily focused on two areas of design principles, Gestalt principles and color theory. Gestalt principles are focused on the concept of a unified whole. These principles allow us to create a strong sense of visual order through grouping and unification. One of the Gestalt principles that I applied to my infographic is closure. This is seen when our brains fill in the missing parts of an incomplete shape. I used this in two places in my infographic: the icons for each of the emission sources, and my final graphical element at the bottom. I use the principle of closure here where the viewer of the infographic perceives a leaf, even though the shape is incomplete. The missing parts of these icons, such as the gaps between the roof and the rest of the house, and the windows in the buildings and the car, are subconsciously filled in when we look at them. I chose to use this style because it allowed me to keep the infographic visually simple, so that the visuals aid the story of the data rather than distracting from it. In the case of these icons, they are easily recognizable figures, so their simplicity allows for this visual impact without unnecessary detail that would be distracting. Another Gestalt principle that I applied to my infographic is proximity. This is the fact that we group things together in our minds when they are placed near each other. I chose to evenly space the 6 greenhouse gas sources next to each other on the same line. This helps the viewer perceive the relationships between them because the same style and proximity to each other conveys a sense of grouping. In my next visual element, I chose to increase the visual interest of both the pie chart and the bars by placing them together. The pie chart tells us what the makeup of greenhouse gas emissions is, and the color-correspondent bars provide a reference size for the potency of methane and nitrous oxide. By locating these elements together, I increase their sense of relation because the viewer knows that there is a direct relationship between the data visualized in the pie chart and the data visualized by the bars. The third Gestalt principle that I applied to my infographic is alignment. I chose to use center alignment in my infographic because it is more formal than other alignments, which makes the visuals and text more impactful. The next section of my infographic breaks this trend, however. I use this to emphasize the point being made by the text. By using a mixture of left, center, and right side alignments, the text becomes visually interesting and conveys a sense of movement as our eyes travel across the various lines. Color theory has two primary components: harmony and meaning. Proper use of color harmony presents a sense of order for the infographic. In my case, I chose to use a mixture of monochromatic and analogous color styles. Monochromatic colors use a single hue and vary the saturation and density of it. I applied this to the gray background and text and the various tints of both green and blue used throughout my graphic. Analogous colors are ones that are very close to each other on the color wheel. In my case, green and blue. Color meaning is the theory of how people perceive meaning from colors. The dark gray background provides a sense of ominousness, and along with the lighter gray text used in various areas conveys a sense of future, which I chose because my data, being environmental, has meaning for the future. I chose green because it is associated with the environment, and blue because it is both analogous to green and provides a sense of seriousness. The use of these Gestalt and color theory principles allowed me to aid the story of the data that I am presenting by creating a visually impactful and harmonized infographic.